السلام عليكم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي امري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I decided to talk tonight about Ramadan. I called tonight's lecture Making Ramadan 2022 Transformational. The topic for this evening is Making Ramadan 2022 Transformational. The reason I chose this topic because I personally believe that most people are doing Ramadan wrong. We said in an earlier lecture, not everyone who prays really prays. By the same token, I believe that not everyone who fasts really fasts, or at least fasts in a way that's most pleasing to Allah. My hope this evening is that each one of you gets at least one breakthrough, one lesson, one actionable idea, a new distinction that helps illuminate the path for somebody else this Ramadan. Inshallah, I will stay under 1 hour. Please quiet down a little bit and wait for the, if you have any questions, well, till the end. I promise I'll do my best at the end of the talk to answer them. If not, we always have Madiha. I want to start by giving an example. I'm going to go off the notes a little bit because I did not incorporate this example into the lecture. This is a glass. I don't know if you can see. It's an empty glass. If the glass is this way, the mouth of the glass down, you cannot fill anything in here. No matter what you try, you cannot fill it because this glass is not really positioned properly. Most people fast Ramadan in a similar way. And I'm going to clarify what I mean. Most people, when you say Ramadan, they think food, fasting, thirsty, hungry, tired. Most people are dunyawi people, because as long as the glass this way, you are really, your focus, your direction is downward. You are looking at things that are physical. You are really attached to if it's completely like this, you're completely attached, you're bound, you're not going anywhere. I have people that are foodies, they live for food. Wahiyat Allah, I don't want to mention names, but Americans, you wouldn't know. All their life is what they're eating today, what they're going to eat next week, the vacation, where they eat, they go on cruise to eat. They are so dunyawis. A lot of our people are the same way too, but especially that becomes more evident in Ramadan, because most people that fast in Ramadan, they are thinking, oh, we're going to have mansaf here, we're going to have kibbeh here, we're going to have chips pasta by this, so-and-so is making nizre. All the time, during the day, they're fasting, but all they're talking about is what they're going to eat after they break the fast. That is really the wrong focus. That is not really what fasting is meant to be. I want you to think fasting is Quran. Fasting is not food. And we'll go back to that one. Anyway, when you are like this, you're attached to food, you're attached to drink, you're attached to intimacy, you're attached to passion, all animalistic needs, all earthly, all dunyawi needs. Now, some people, they say, you know what, I'm not attached. So they come up a little bit higher like this, a little bit off the thing. They let go a little bit. Still, you cannot fill this in unless you change direction. You change, you absolutely control your earthly desires and you obliterate them. You detach completely from food, detach completely from drink. Ramadan is not about food and drink. You want to actually go from the physical to the spiritual. Now, when you flip the glass this way, now Allah can fill you. You can ask Allah. Now you go from the physical world to the spiritual world, to the metaphysical world, where you're asking Allah, please fill me with your attributes, fill me with rahmah, fill me with knowledge, fill me with love, fill me with passion, fill me with wisdom, fill me with knowledge. You want to go from physical to spiritual. Ramadan is a spiritual journey. It's not just physical. Most of us think physical only. We don't eat. You miss the boat if you're just not eating Ramadan. You're just starving yourself. You are really not maximizing Ramadan. I want you this year to do something different, and I'm going to challenge you later on. Do something where you really make this Ramadan even better than last year. The Gandhi and I in plan also last year, we had a wonderful Ramadan. It was the best Ramadan of my life. My plans for this one is to be even 10 times better than than last year. So make a commitment to do something different. Most of us were 40, 50, some of us 60, 70, 60 years. So for 50 years of your life, if you're 60 for, let's say, 50 or 45 years of your life, you've been doing Ramadan the exact same way. Why don't you try something different this time? Try something different. And that's the challenge that I'm going to give you. So flip your glass from dunyawi to spiritual. Let Allah fill you in, let Allah fill you from the top. You direct your focus up on top. Don't be looking down at earthly, dunyawi things. That's, if you don't remember anything else, as this will become clear as we go. But remember this example. That's why I want to start with this one. It's not in my notes, but I want to start with that. Now, Ramadan is Quran, I said. How does Allah talk to us? Through the Quran. Allah talks to us. These are Allah's words. He's talking to us through the Quran. Now, any conversation is a dialogue. The first person talks, the other one behaves quietly, listens. You're allowing that person to talk. When that person finishes, then it's your turn. Then you talk, then he's quiet. Then when you finish, that's a dialogue. It's called back and forth dialogue, مثل tennis game يعني. But when some people, I have a friend of mine, Blan knows him very well. I don't want to mention names, but Blan knows him. A lot of people know him. He does Khatam Quran once a month for the longest time I know. If you ask him, what does Surah Al-Baqarah mean? I can guarantee you that even us, that we are learned more than others, maybe at least 50% of us have no clue what Al-Baqarah is. No clue. Wallahi al-Azim, Muslims outside, we are somewhat we're reading, we're learning. We do know more than 50% of the Circassians out there, or the Muslims, I should say. Wallahi al-Azim, 90% of the people that go to Jama'ah, I ask that question many times. What does Baqarah mean? They tell you, واحد ما جاب لحمة بقرة ذبحها ضربه باللحمة. It's almost 300 ayahs. That's all you got, just a piece of meat, and he hit the dead person, and the person got up and said, he killed me. That's all they got from the Baqarah, because somebody maybe mentioned it. They read it a monologue way. You know what the monologue is? Where you read, you're not even letting the Quran talk to you. You're not letting Allah, you're not giving Allah his turn to speak to you. Allah speaks to you through the Quran, but when you read fast reading, I call it speed reading, people that do khatam every month, it's like almost like in a race. It's not a race. Who cares how many times you finish Quran, read Quran? If you finish it and you're not understanding it, what good is it? So some people, there's one guy who does khatam every month for the longest time. And he doesn't know a lot of things that are basic that he should know. Wallahi azim, it's not a race. What are you racing? To no man's land where you don't understand what you're reading? So a lot of people pride themselves, Ramadan. I said, no, don't do that, man. Because you have to understand, you have to let Allah talk to you. If you don't let Allah talk to you, you're not engaged in a dialogue. You're engaged in a monologue where you're thinking you're better than Allah. You're not even letting Allah speak to you. You are taking the conversation fast, that you are putting yourself before Allah, astaghfirullah al-azim. So there's adab to conversation. You have to let the person talk. You have to understand, tadabbar, think, reflect, learn, and then you can ask a smart question. You can do smart dua. We talk to Allah by dua. He talks to us through the Quran. So you have to listen. You have to slow down a little bit. It's not a race. You're not racing. You're not going to get more hasanat by finishing 2 khatams versus 1 khatam. In fact, I would argue to say you probably will get more sayyat because you are not letting Allah talk to you for the first time. You have to repeat it again and again and again. Let Allah talk to you. Slow down when you read the Quran. Don't rush, just rush. That's my main thing that I would like to actually drive home to you. That's why I started with the example of the glass, because I may not have the chance later on. Okay. So speed reading khatam is a monologue, it's not a dialogue. It's lack of adab, قلة أدب مع الله. أنا بظن بيقرأ القرآن بسرعة وما عم يفهم شو عم يقرأ. أنا بظن هذا قلة أدب، لأنه في آداب للتعلم، في آداب احترام المحادثة. That's really, you're not letting Allah speak, you are speaking over Allah. That's really how I look at it. You give him a chance to make you understand what he's trying to tell you. The Quran, by the way, changed billions of people, billions of civilizations, changed people. Us as Circassians, we were pagans at one point. If it wasn't for Quran, we wouldn't be Muslims. Indians, Afghanis, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Malaysia, they were Buddhists, Chinese Buddhists. If it wasn't for the Quran, they would still be Chinese Buddhists. So it changed not only billions of people, culture, civilization, due to the Quran, due to Kalam Allah. And we speak Arabic, we think we do, and we don't even understand what we're reading. Afghanis, they understand more than us. Wallahi al-azim, some of them, it's embarrassing. So I'm asking you, I'm talking in general, I'm not talking about anything. So I'm begging you, please, this Ramadan, do something different. Do not go for Khatam Quran. I'm suggesting one thing. I'm going to do this Ramadan, my plan, inshallah, is Allah Rad. I'm just going to focus on Surah Al-Baqarah. I want to really understand. If you go to Hamza Yusuf or Na'man Ali Khan, I think he has like 50 or 60 حلقة بس عن تفسير البقرة. كل واحدة شيء 20 minutes. والله ما بعرف العدد بس big number, 40, 50, something like that. Nablusi has like 50 of them. Umar Suleiman has so many. Shanqiti has like 70 of them. بس سورة البقرة. If you really 20 minutes, 30 minutes, episodes each one. If you do that only, Surah Al-Baqarah, you commit to really understanding the Baqarah, I think you get more hasanat than reading 10 khatams, in my opinion. So that's the homework for you, homework for me. If you want to take on the challenge, let's do it together. And we can help one another. We can argue it. We can discuss it. We can see what we learn. We can have like maybe small sessions every 2-3 days. We can have 10 minutes. What did you learn? We can do that. Learn what does the Baqarah really mean. That's enough. If you do this Ramadan, that's bigger task than you think. It's almost 300 ayahs. Yeah, and it's not easy. So the other thing I want to ask you, and because I may not get the chance to do it later, please try to come this Ramadan to Taraweeh in our mosque. And if you cannot come all the Taraweeh because you work, I don't understand. At least try the last 10 days or as many days as you can. We still have a month. It's like 45 days away. You can plan to take a vacation, maybe 2-3 days, whatever. We have to support Imam Hamid. Wallahi al-Azim, he's doing good work. We have to be there for him. So plan to take some time off to be there present the last 10 days. It's transformational. It will change your life. It did for me in Gandhi last year. And I'm planning this year to make it even better, inshallah, ya Rab. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you. If you remember nothing else, please remember the physical world is like this. Allah doesn't want us to be this way. Doesn't want us to be. He wants us to be open, receiving. Also, the other thing, I want to mention one thing quickly. It's of somebody who does this is arrogant. He's given himself 10. Some people are educated, doctors, lawyers, whatever the titles, that never impress me, never will. So and so. These people give themselves a 10. I know more than you. My voice صوتي أحلى من صوتك بالتلاوة ولا فهمان ولا دارس ولا كذا. They are giving themselves a 10. Full. The glass is full to the top. You cannot fill it. When they're full of themselves, you cannot fill anymore. They're not receptive to learning. No matter how learned you become, no matter how educated you become, please do not give yourself more than 5, 6 at most. So you can allow some room for growth. So you can, so you can have, up here, so you can have some room for growth. Otherwise, nothing goes in. If you think you're 10, واللي ما بيدخل الجنة اللي فيها ذرة تكبر. So, So please do not give yourself more than 5 or 6, so you can allow some room for growth. That's the other idea I'm going to say, and then we're going to go from here. Okay. I think I'm going to hold this by hand. It's easy. Okay. For example, مشان الديالوج اللي عم نقول ديالوج بالفاتحة نقول الحمد لله رب العالمين. الله spoken. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. الله عم يعرفنا عن حاله. نحن هلا هالدور الله هلا بعدين هلا بنقول إياك نعبد وإياك هلا دورنا بدعاء اهدنا دورنا. So you wait till God finishes first and then you do. For example, did you have a question one time? مثلا بدك تسأل واحد سؤال رحت لعند أمك بدك تسأل سؤال let me tell you. She's like, no, wait, let me tell you first. No, let me tell you. Oh, teacher. It happened to me with teachers. I want to ask questions so bad, it's burning questions. Sometimes during the lecture, you have this burning question. I'm like, as soon as I get a chance, go and ask the question. And then the teacher or your mom says, let me tell you first. Let me tell you. No, I want to tell you. آداب تخلي الأكبر والأفهم والأعقل يحكي لك. أمك تحكي لك شغلة. Then at the end, she gives you an answer better than the question you were going to ask. What's your question? No, it's okay. I don't have a question. Did not happen to you. It did happen to me with teachers. I want to ask questions. It gets answered. Sometimes your question gets answered better than you expect. So always give the person a chance. هذا الإنسان ما بالك الله. هذا الإنسان اللي عم تعطيه هيك مجال واحد شوي أفهم منك بشوي متعلم أستاذ ولا أمك ولا أنسة ولا كذا. هذا الإنسان اللي علمه محدود ما بالك الله اللي غير الدنيا كلها بس بهالقرآن. So ما بيستاهل تعطيه وقته. القرآن ما بيستاهل تعطيه الوقت الحق يعني حقه لازم تعطيه القرآن يعني أنا هذا بس slow down. Don't worry about how many khatams. It's not a race. We're not racing. We're not doing speed reading crash course here. Ramadan is actually للتدبر مو للسرعة. Ramadan, everything should slow down. The earthly things should slow. Your زيارات لازم تخف. أكل هم الشغل ما الشغل والعمل وكذا ومصاري فلان حكى وفلان مات وفلان ساوى. هذا كله لازم you gotta slow all these things down so you can have room for spiritual things. You gotta get rid of كل الشغلات اللي بتاكل همنا عادة دنيويات. So you want to slow down a little bit so you can have more room for Allah, more room for really beneficial knowledge, not just earthly حاجيات يعني. Anyway, enough said, I think. Okay. Something about this ayah here. يقول الله تعالى الآية number 185 سورة البقرة. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصمه ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسرة ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون. دي شوي فصلها شوي أكثر. That's all we're going to be talking about. So I'd like you to think about the greatness of the Quran, and understanding this ayah is amazing. My guess is that most readers rarely think about the depth and the meaning of this ayah. It is so profound, and it summarizes the story and the purpose of this great month. يعني هاي الآية بالذات بتقول لك شو رمضان كلياته تقريبا، بتحدد لك حتى ما رمضان. That's coming to visit us in 2 weeks. There's only 2 weeks left. In fact, Ramadan is full of blessings, and Laylatul Qadr is translated to the night of power because it changed humanity. Laylatul Qadr غيرت humanity كلها, and it changed the entire world, as we will see later. The first thing Allah Azza wa Jal highlights in this beautiful ayah is how unique and special the month of Ramadan really is, because He revealed the Quran to guide us. يعني I advise myself and you to remind yourself that Ramadan is special for us because Ramadan was revealed. Because the Quran was revealed in Ramadan to our beloved, and because billions of lives have been transformed, billions of families, lineages, cultures, civilizations have been affected by it, to the point that the entire human history have changed, and humanity shifted as a result of the Quran that was revealed to our beloved unlettered Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam more than 1400 years ago in Saudi Arabia, and changed the entire world in the biggest way possible ever. بحياة الله في تغيير بالدنيا مثل ما القرآن غير. Never happened, never will happen. مثل حكينا خذ الشراكس for example. الشراكس كانوا أجدادنا pagans worshipping the sun and the wind and the river وكذا. The Arabs were جاهليون. They were worshipping statues. The Muslims of India and Indonesia, they kind of Buddhists, they're worshipping Buddha and so on and so forth. All the people from all corners of the world were worshipping idols of some sort or another. And the ones that became Muslims, alhamdulillah, owe their Islam to the month of Ramadan. كل إسلامنا إحنا يعني شكرا لرمضان للقرآن. So we fast in gratitude. We fast to thank Allah. We fast because we give up just food ومجوع حالنا بوجعنا راسنا وكذا. يعني we fast to just say thank you. لأنه our ancestors received, كانوا our ancestors أجدادنا من المحظوظين اللي وصلتنا الهداية. يعني في ناس كثير ما وصلوا الهداية. الحمد لله نحن اللي شراكتنا وصلنا الهداية الإسلامية. في كثير ناس بأفريقيا ولا كذا ما وصلهم الإسلام يعني. So Ramadan is the reason for Muslims, is the reason for all Muslims, and the Quran is the crown jewel of Ramadan. Quran يعني أهم شيء بالرمضان كله. Thank God we survived COVID-19 since last year or 2 years ago. We know a lot of people that had family that died, and we live to see yet another Ramadan, to have yet another chance to excel. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. Notice that in this بهالآية هي شوف شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. Notice that Allah left himself out of the ayah on purpose. ما حكى شهر رمضان الذي أنزل الله فيه القرآن. الله منا. He didn't say أنزل الله فيه القرآن, even though he is هو الفاعل, يعني هو اللي هذا. ليش يا ترى؟ So hopefully, so we can read the Quran to rediscover him all over again. ترك حاله برات الآية مشان نحن نقرأ القرآن ونعرف his attributes. يعني خواص الله نتعرفها من خلال قراءته. يعني ترك حاله هو بعد الفاعل, هو اللي ما حكى نزل الله القرآن, ترك حاله برا مشان to rediscover him. 3 things we're going to be said about the Quran بهالآية هي. هدى للناس, guidance to all humanity, مو هدى للشراكس ولا هدى للعرب ولا هدى للناس. نحكي عنه بتفصيل أكثر. وبينات من الهدى, clear, بينات معناته بين الفارق, يعني بينات من الهدى, clear evidence, proof from the guidance from within. يعني بينات, clear evidence and proof from within, from من جوا. يعني الفرقان the ultimate power separator. يعني الفرقان إنه يا صح يا غلط 100% يقول clarity, it separates right from wrong, it separates black from white. فرقان يعني ما في شك, بيفرق تمام. يعني this ayah descended 14 years in Medina after revelation. هلا بعد ما راحوا على المدينة هي الآية نزلت. مدنية هي السورة كلها, هي الآية سورة العفو, الآية مدنية. والصحابة كانوا يعلموا ما هو القرآن، يعني بيعرفوا إن القرآن هدوا بالقرآن، انهدوا هنا كان جاهلين. They were guided by the Quran, so they're familiar with the Quran. They're familiar إن القرآن is hidayah. So ليش الله نزلها بعد 14 سنة? Why did he not reveal it before? Why did he reveal it after Hijrah, 14 years after Hijrah? Because Allah wants us to come to the Quran without prejudgment. قبل ما كانوا جاهلين كانوا prejudgmental، كانوا ما هذا. لما راحوا صار مسلمين he wants you to come to the Quran with clean slate, without preconceived notion, without prejudgments, to reintroduce ourselves to it with fresh eyes. بده الله يكون العقل مفتح جديد، يعني start clean, fresh eyes, fresh minds, so that each ayah will hit us, like will hit your core like never before. They say, as if Allah is telling us, do not underestimate the book of Allah in terms of its guidance, because it will manifest itself. It will manifest itself anew with the new guidance. If you don't underestimate it, it will manifest itself stronger and newer than before. Yani. You can never say you know the Quran, because every time you read it, you will definitely learn something new that you did not know before. You know, that all the times you read Surah Al-Baqarah, you can never say I know Surah Al-Baqarah. في ناس بيقولوا بعرف Surah Al-Baqarah. You can never read it. It's so massive and it's so big. لأنه بيقولوا القرآن البقرة القرآن. يعني it's such a powerful surah that you cannot possibly know it, because your understanding of it changes as your life condition changes. يعني واحد بتغير ظروفه حتى تفهمك بتغير. إذا لما تصير عندك علم أكثر تفهم أغمق، تصير عندك تفهم أكثر، بيطلع لك challenge، بتصير في عندك تحديات بحياتك. There's more answers, there's more miracles. Every turn, في miracle. سورة البقرة عشان هيك سورة عظيمة يعني. It's like when you jump in the ocean. إذا بتنط البحر بتنبل يعني. Your body, you're soaked, you're completely soaked, you come out completely wet and soaked. But you can never say that you experience the entire ocean. You only experience those water droplets that touch your skin. صراحة أنت صح، بس you cannot really say I experience the whole ocean. You only experience whatever touched you from the ocean. The same thing with Surah Al-Baqarah. It would be foolish to say that you experience the entire ocean just because يعني عم تغير الموجات، عم تغير وعم تروح عم تجي، حتى يعني حتى لو نطيت مرة ثانية وثالثة و100 مرة، it would be the exact same drops that will touch you. It will not be the exact same one. بيكون تغيروا بس ما بيكون كل البحر. يعني لو 1000 مرة نطيت بالبحر, you have some water that touch your body, but not the whole. You don't really experience the entire ocean. Surah Al-Baqarah is like that. It's massive surah. It's big surah and it has a lot of depth, a lot of waves in the oceans. يعني as the ocean. قل لو كان البحر مدادا لكلمات ربي لنفذ البحر قبل أن تنفذ كلمات ربي ولو جئنا بمثله مداد الحبر. يعني لو كان البحر حبر من الله قد ما كتب ما بتخلص. يعني لهالدرجة القرآن عظيم، لهالدرجة فيه اللي بيفهم القرآن كل واحد بيقرأ أكثر كل ما بيتعمق أكثر كل ما بيحس حاله عن جد ما بيعرفش. يعني الحمد لله نحن بداية ما النسم يدو عم نتعلم عم نتعجب، بس when you know هلا حمزة لما يحكي oh my god ولا نعمان هذه خان شلون فهموا هالشيء ما بعرف. يعني it's really it'll not give you anything until you give yourself 100% to it. إذا ما بتعطي حالك 100% للقرآن ما بيعطيك شيء القرآن. نحن نعطي حالنا 10% للأسف. يعني معظمنا أنا بحكي بالجنرال ما specifying anybody in particular. سبحان الله. We all fast in Ramadan because the Quran was revealed to our beloved Prophet in this blessed month. I'd like you to think that Ramadan is not just the month of fasting, but rather it is the month of Quran. يعني في رمضان Quran. ما بدك تفكر رمضان بس fasting عم جوي حالك. Because fasting is a method in which يعني fasting is necessary to purify to detach, to purify your soul, تقمع الدنيوية مشان تتفرغ للspirituality. You have to actually conquer yourself in Ramadan. الجوع والعطش وكذا. بعدين في ناس ما بيحبوا يحسوا بالجوع والعطش. I think that's foolish. You want to feel some pain, you want to feel some hunger, you want to feel tired. Otherwise what are you sacrificing? إذا والله تسهر بالليل مثلا عم تاكل بيسهر بالليل الفجر بيطرقوا بطن بيحطوا راسهم بيناموا للمغرب. Are you really fasting? You're not fasting. You are missing out. You want to feel pain. في ناس بيوجعن راسهم. أنا بحياتي ما بصير معي هيك، بس أول كم يوم رمضان بيوجعني راسي شوي. Because we are all addicted to sugars, to coffee, to sodas, whatever people are addicted to carbs. You will get detoxed the first few days. It is normal. في واحد سألته واحدة ليش ما بتصومي؟ قال والله بيوجعني راسي. طيب يعني والله بجوع ولا كذا. You want to feel some pain, you want to feel some hunger. What's the sacrifice? You're not sacrificing. شو عم تعطي انت يعني؟ الله بس عم تاكل شوي، واذا ما حسيت بشيء بدك لازم تحس بالارهاق، لازم تحس بشويه تعب. When you're tired, you know, you don't want to stay lay down and get up and do 2 ركعات. والله العظيم لما بتتحرك بتحرك الدم، بتحرك بترجع بشيك نشاط. Go for a walk, تتمشى برا، قول ما شاء الله سبحان الله. Ramadan is going to be beautiful this year because it's springtime. Go out, look at small flowers, listen to the birds. والله العظيم امبارح كنت عند امي، قلت امبارح نمت والله العظيم قسما بالله يمكن حكيت مع غاندي وقتها ولا ما بعرف، لا بكير كثير كان على غاندي. I swear to God العصر بيجي طيور نورس، seagulls وفي وزات وعصافير. والله عصفور he is singing his heart out الصباح، لسه ما صار ضوء يعني، بعد الفجر يمكن قبل الضحى يعني، عم يغني. People say that this bird is mating, calling for a mate. Maybe, but I think والله عم يسبح ربه والله العظيم. صرت عم تسبح انا معه والله. It rhymes with whatever. So وحياة الله يعني I really never felt انه عصفور عن جد عم يسبح ربه مثل العصفور والله من كل قلبه. ونفس الشيء عم نقول سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا اله الا الله، والله عن نفس النغمه عم نمشي انا same rhythm. I do believe انه العصافير بيسبحوا. I do believe انه الحمام بيسبح الشجر وكذا. والله just spend 5 minutes in the morning, 5-10 minutes خلوه مع الله، سمع بس listen, let nature talk to you, let the birds talk to you. والله العظيم بطلع اتمشى انا هون احيانا. I don't want to turn on I shut off the phone. I just listen to the birds. ما حدا بياخذ وقت. We are busy. ركض. خلوة مع الله، خلوة مع خلق الله، مع العصافير، مع الورد. جيب ورد صغيرة بس قرب. I take photos of small flowers or just نحلة بتطلع عليها والله العظيم تخشع، خشوع بيصير عندك. في ناس بيقولوا ما عندك خشوع. That's how you get خشوع. By appreciation, by gratitude, by alhamdu, by thanking, by letting nature talk to you. Let Allah's sign talk to you. ما راح تشوف الله بس خلي his sign all over. واحدة ختيارة هيك مجي عليك وش عم طلع عليها أو الشيء. والله العظيم I felt so much elation from inside, spiritually يعني. على قديش مارق بحياتك، قديش مارق براسه والشيء بجعلك يعني. You don't know. So look at the creation. If you want to know Allah, know His creation. Go out, smell the flowers. So see the bees, see the نحلة صغيرة. شوف النملة. أنا كنا عمي فخري الله يرحمه كان يعطينا magnifying glass نلحق النملات على بيته وكذا. You know how much that means to me now, 56 years later. والله العظيم it made me who I am. It made me soft-hearted. These things. So nature, the birds, things will really. That gives you the joy of life. Happiness is something that people are chasing, but it's happiness is a byproduct. Is a byproduct of what you do. There's nothing called happiness you go buy off the shelf. It's what you do that gives you happiness. Ramadan has a happy month. Ramadan, when you are depriving yourself of food and you have some pains, you should be happy you have some pain because you're paying the price that Allah is going to reward you for. وإذا ما بتجوع وما بتعطش وما بتلعب, what are you sacrificing? You're not giving up anything. You're still attached to the earth. So you wanna disconnect. You wanna feel some pain. You wanna feel tired. You wanna feel hungry. Otherwise, you're not sacrificing anything. Anyway, enough said. Okay. Fasting is all about the Quran. Quran is internal worship. Fasting is internal worship. أنا فاستنج قرآن synonymous عم استعملهم. So when you're fasting ما حدا بيعرفك إذا صايم. بيجوز تفوت على الغرفة تاكل من الدايت، بيجوز عم تخبي عليهم، ما حدا بيعرف. So هي عبادة باطنية. العبادات الأخرى الأربعة، الشهادة والصوم مثلا، والشهادة والصلاة والحج والزكاة، عبادات خارجية. العالم بيشوفوك إذا عم تصلي، بيشوفوك إذا عم تمشي، بيشوفوك إذا عم تحج، بيشوفوك العالم. الصلاة بيجوز يشوفوك هيك ما عم تاكل، بيجوز تفوت على الغرفة تاكل تطلع ما بيعرفوا. ما في غير الله بيعرف. والله بيجازيك من عنده مثل ما بده على هوا. شلون بتصوم؟ مثل ما ممكن ما واحد عم يصوم صام. Not everybody who fasts. People just fast because they're thinking I'm going to eat not منسف ولا eat شاكرية ورز ولا بدي شو سباسة ولا كذا. They're not really fasting. They're looking at the end goal, but they're missing the whole journey. The fasting is the journey between when you wake up, what are you doing different than normal? شهر واحد كل يوم إذا نفس الروتين نفس. You have to do things differently. You have to try different things. If something doesn't work, do something different. This doesn't work, you have to reach closer to Allah by subduing your earthly needs and opening up, يعني making time for Allah, make more. صلي أكثر، صلي لك 20 ركعة، وقف صلي. لما تتعب روح صلي رياضة بتحرك الدم مثل ما بتحرك مفاصل. والله بيروح التعب. You have a headache, go for a walk. You look something, you see something new that you haven't seen before. So don't do the same boring things you've been doing for 40, 50 years and expect a different change. That's the definition of foolishness. Foolishness is to do something the same way, expecting different results. That's the definition of crazy. If you're doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to get the same results you've been getting all along. So you want to try something different this Ramadan. Don't do 4-5 khatmat. Just do one good khatam with understanding of Al-Baqarah, and that will do you a lot more good than the other. And Allah will I think, will reward you in multitude much more than Al-Khatam. And we're not in a speed racing course here. We're not racing. يعني. So that's not a race. It's تدبر. بالعكس, it's the opposite of race. بتخفف كل شيء. هدي كل شيء يعني رمضان. Anyway. So هدى للناس. Al-Quran is for all people. للناس. كلمة للناس اللي بنحكي عنها. Not just one nation, not just one people. We are not special group like the Israelites. المسلمين مو الله فضل الإسرائيليين يعني. نحن مو مثلهم. Allah said, no, not this time. You are not any special. Quran is for everyone and everybody. مو بس المسلمين. للناس. However, Muslims make universal nation. We have unique institutional laws, Sharia تبعتنا, that separates us from other traditions. We Muslims have our own Independence Day. مثل 4th of July. عندنا احنا 4th of July تبعنا. Independence from shirk. It's ليلة القدر. Really. Think of ليلة القدر as عيد الاستقلال. مدري شو اسمه هنا الاندبندنس داي شو اسمه بالانجليزي العربي. عيد الاستقلال من الشرك كان ليلة القدر. We have our own 4th of July. It's called ليلة القدر. I bet you didn't have ليلة القدر as the real Independence Day for Muslims. That's when we parted with the statues of the shirk يعني. So Islam is the religion that's completely independent of shirk. We are 100% shirk free. Each person, however, will have their own unique personal experience with the Quran. أنا بقرأ القرآن ما بفهم غاندي ولا بلان ولا مديحة ولا مها. كل واحد بيفهمه على هوا خبرته بالحياة, على هوا الباك جراوند تبعه. الحمد لله احنا تقريبا we share the same background. we come from the same culture. However, we may have had different journeys, different experiences growing up, different challenges, different educational levels, or different personal interests and references. مختلفين يعني كل واحد عنده his own challenges, his own preferences. So since we are different individuals, أنا واللي عم بحكي معه the Quran will speak to each one of us slightly differently and will serve as a unique personal counsel for you, specifically for you, different than for me. Totally different, unique personal counsel for me than it is for you, than it is for Madiha, than for everybody. Everybody has, Quran speaks to you differently to the level you're at. And as your level changes, your depth of knowledge, your information, then Quran changes with you. That's why it's a living miracle, they say. It's living. Quran is alive, in my opinion. If you cannot find counsel anywhere else, rest assured that you can open the Quran to any page, and whichever ayah you land on, وحياة Allah, if you read it with tadabbur, there will be hikmah in it for you. There will be an answer in it for you, remedy for you, for the problem that you're having. كل حالهم بيقولوا سبحان الله فتحت على الصفحة and it spoke to me. كلهم الريفرس كلهم بيفتحوا القرآن بتكون سبحان الله هي الصفحة اللي الله بده يورجيها يعني. It's amazing. Because the Quran has a unique personal fingerprint. مثل ما نحن عندنا fingerprints for each person. سبحان الله. You cannot prove its uniqueness to anyone. هلا إذا بتقرأ القرآن شيء بيأثر عليك تأثير معين. You cannot explain that to me. You cry, maybe it touches you, but صعب تشرح لواحد لأنه to you it touches you exactly when it needed to touch you, exactly when it needed to touch your heart. To me, maybe it didn't resonate with me. So لما واحد it's unique to you, you cannot really make anyone else see what you just saw. You can try. That is your unique personal relationship with Allah. Allah is talking to you uniquely at that moment. It's for your eyes only. It's for you only. That uniqueness is for each and every one though. It's for all humanity. للناس, meaning everyone has unique relationship with Allah. Allah 10-20 واحد 100 واحد بالجامعة عم يصلوا, كل واحد عم يتحدث مع الله, وكل واحد الله عم يجابه, وكل واحد عم يشكي شكاوى مختلفة, وكل واحد he's getting exactly what he's asking for, all at the same time. That to me is mind-boggling. But you know something? I am fascinated by the word للناس. You want to know why? We are more introverted برمضان. برمضان كلنا من القوقع. ما بنروح من هذا. We are introverted in Ramadan because we spend more time in worship in Ramadan than any other month. كلنا بنصلي أكثر وبنعبد أكثر. صح ولا لا؟ برمضان يعني agree. We go inwards. We go introverted. While Allah wants us to go the other way. للناس مو إلى الله ما بدك تتقوقع, بدك تفتح برمضان. يعني it's all about opening a new opportunity, new door for some people. We are more introverted because we spend more time in worship in Ramadan than other times. We see more part-time Muslims in the mosque than any other month. بيجوا بس برمضان في ناس مثل ما بالجمعة بيجوا. We do more dhikr in the month of Ramadan than more than any other month. We do more dua than the other months. Isn't that true? But you know what we don't do? We don't do what Allah wants us to do in Ramadan. We do not speak to more non-Muslims. We should speak to more non-Muslims in Ramadan. Ramadan, more than any other month, we should in Ramadan speak to non-Muslims more so than the other months. The word linnas tells me that we must share the Quran with non-Muslims. Yet we fall short Ramadan after Ramadan. Allah clearly says that the Quran is hudan linnas and not hudan for Muslims. We are instructed and mandated. Allah معطينا directions what to do, and yet we don't. To share the hidayah, and yet we keep to ourselves only. يعني بتقوقع واحد بس ركز ولا بيختم القرآن. Who cares, man? ختم القرآن. Go share it with somebody else. Share. يعني إذا بقرأ قول حفظ القرآن ختم القرآن كله. How are we gonna bring somebody on? You don't understand anything in the first place. Most likely when you're speed reading, you're not understanding. لأنه ما عم تخلي الله يحكي يتحادث معك. أنت عم تحكي لحالك. يعني how are you gonna share that with people? What are you gonna بس تعلم آية بوضوح. آية واحدة بجوز تغير حياة واحد. آية واحدة في واحدة فاتحة على القرآن من سورة فاطر من قطمير اللفافل على البذرة. بس هالواحد حط له تبرع قال لك إلهي بالقرآن. وتركها كان مستأجر عنده واحدة سويدية. I sent you the video a long time ago. أكلتها قالت معقول هي بالقرآن؟ طلع بسورة فاطر أسلمت بس من هي. بس because he knew what قطمير is. A lot of people don't know. So knowing is better than just finishing the Quran without even understanding what you're reading. Which begs the question, as ambassadors of Islam, are we concerned about the rest of humanity? Allah عم يقول هدى للناس. Are we concerned with other ناس? If not, why not? هذا question إلك يعني. إذا ما مهمنا نفوت ناس ما عم نعمل دعوة ما عم نعمل هداية للناس. Why not? Allah عم يقول هدى للناس. If you think we must, and Allah Azza wa Jal clearly and arguably commands us to do so, are you doing your part? And if not, why not? These are questions for you to ask yourself and answer for yourself. I'm not putting anybody on the spot. The question, and for me too, the questions are for everyone. And the answers stay with each and every one of us to grapple with and to come to terms with. But answering to ourselves the tough question is the least that we could do. We have to ask the questions. If everything is easy, then it's not fun. You have to ask the tough question. If you're the more devout Muslim you become, the more responsibility you should feel, the more challenge you're going to take on, the more growth you're going to take on, the more ways you're going to try to spread the word. يعني سبحان الله احنا جايين نحن سفراء للدين الاسلامي في امريكا. الله حطنا هون نفذنا من سوريا ونفذنا من قوقاز ونفذنا من كذا لسبب. There's no accidents. I don't believe there's chances in life. There's no كله مكتوب. So are we doing our part? If not, why not? when Allah عمل هدى للناس. الناس really started because Allah says we have to go نهدي الناس مو بس نهدي الشراكس مثل عم يساوي بالجمعية ولا نهدي الرحلات بيهدوا بس القوم تبعهم يعني. ونبي عليه السلام he called it مثابة للناس مثابة فاجعل أفئدة من الناس تهوي إليهم. He was hoping that everyone one day will come to the Kaaba. سيدنا إبراهيم كان أمله إنه عمل الكعبة إنه يوما ما يصير الناس أفئدة من الناس تهوي إليهم يجوا هون يعني. The legacy of Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم حبيبنا ورسولنا is the fulfillment يعني تحقيق legacy تبع إبراهيم. مسلمين حققنا الليجاسي تبع إبراهيم حققنا هدفه بالحياة لإبراهيم. صرنا مسلمين اللي عم يحجون يعني. We are the legacy of the fulfillment of the legacy of Ibrahim. We Muslims more than any other people are supposed to be concerned with humanity. Was our Prophet concerned with just Arabs? كان رسول هل بس بهم العرب? Was he concerned with, he was concerned with all humanity, of course. Remember the motto that we picked from the get-go 3 years ago, وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين. مو بس رحمة للشركسيين ولا رحمة للفلسطينيين ولا رحمة للأردنيين ولا السوريين. رحمة للعالمين. رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. And Allah gave this beloved prophet these words in the month of Ramadan. الله أعطاها الكلمات برمضان. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس. الله حكى له الرسول يعني. So we have to relive this mission. We have to relive the mission of the prophets, Ibrahim or Muhammad. Share this message of Islam with all humanity all the time, like Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did. And if we cannot do that this year, we should at least do it if we cannot do it all year round, we should at least do it in the month of Ramadan, since Allah kept us alive. في ناس كثير شراكس ماتوا كوفيد هون ولا بالاردن ولا بسوريا، في كثير انا بعرف قرايبيني في ناس ماتوا. نحن محظوظين عشنا كمان سنه ثانيه. We can't take that for granted. هذا له سعر وله سبب. يعني انا بظن ما في يعني there's no accidents. Ramadan is not the month of going introvert and disconnecting from others. Ramadan is the month of caring for others, sharing the message of Islam with others, sharing the food with others, giving to others, not pushing away, alienating or repelling the others. Because Islam is not a religion of exclusion. يعني I'm in أنتم ما دخلكم. أنا مثل قاعد بأوتيل, no vacancy. We're inside, you're outside, no vacancy. We don't have that liberty. يعني. It's not a religion of exclusion, excluding someone. It's a religion of inclusion. You want to include other people. You want to دعوة. يعني Islam كل واحد بيننا لازم يكون walking billboard for Islam, walking advertisement for Islam كلياتنا, walking Quran. صعب تساوي شيء بس يعني صفة بس نحاول برمضان نحاول صفة ولا صفتين ولا ثلاثة برسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. بنقول هل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كان عايش برمضان شو كان بيعمل؟ ترى كان بيقعد لحاله بالبيت ولا بيطلع بيحكي مع هذا وهذا وهذا؟ يعني من قبل ما كان في مشي، كان يعني بالجمل يسافروا اشهر ولا مشي ولا كذا مشان يروح يحكي مع واحد. هلا بالسلفون فيك تنزل السلفون. يعني مثلا جزء انا يعني it's so much easier to do دعوة now than back then. على المالية القرآن قبل ما كان عندهم تلاوة، ما في تلاوة. يعني القرآن أنت اللي تحفظه، ما حد بيتلي لك. هلا في عندك عباس وعندك مدري شو، عندك سعد الغامدي وعندك رعد الكردي وعندك you can pick from 100 people. Look how easy things are, and we هجرنا القرآن on top of it. والله يعني we have more tools, more resources, but we really just have it for show. القرآن صمدي ببيت العالم السيارة في قرآن، بهون في قرآن، بس nobody reads anything anymore. Sadly, and I'm not saying you, me included, ما بحكي عليكم يعني. So each of us should at least emulate بس صفة واحدة من الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. At least try to, during this month only coming up, each of us is walking billboard مثل حكي الإسلام. Everyone is watching us. Allah is watching us. بس الأمريكان is watching us. تعرفوا إن الدعاة الإسلام اللي بيعلنوا الإسلام they say the biggest obstacle that they face and the worst killer of their da'wah is the Muslims themselves. لأنه hypocrites ما بيطبقوا. The Muslims themselves, because they claim one thing and they do another. People are not blind. People are not dumb. They see that you're hypocrites. They say في الأمريكان بيقولوا they say, and rightfully so actually, they say your religion says that to respect women, and you treat women with that respect, which is, I've seen it many times, you all have seen it. Your religion teaches to be honest in business and dealings, and you cheat and you lie in your business, and you lie on your tax returns. Most Muslims lie on tax returns and they cheat in business. Your religion teaches and to help the generous, to be helpful, to be generous. But most Muslims are selfish and gluttonous. If you don't believe me, go see الجماعة بالصندوق ما بيحطوا مصاري. يعني الامريكان اللي بيجوا اول 10 او واحد مثلا بيحطوا اكثر من المسلمين الخلقانين. يعني للاسف هذا. The list goes on and on, but I'll stop here because that's not our topic. المهم الاسلام يعني الدعاة بيشكوا ان المسلمين بالذات هن اللي يخلوا الناس ترتد عن الاسلام، لانه the Islam teaches beautiful things but they do ugly things. يعني they don't do what the Islam teaches, completely the opposite in fact. This Ramadan I encourage you and invite you to invite your neighbors, your friends, share your foods with them, see what happens. Just be nice. أو لا تفوتوا على البيت، خلوا نصحن لجيرانك لأن إحنا على رمضان هيك. Just give them, see what happens. Do something a little different. Be a little daring. Do something outside your comfort zone this Ramadan. Otherwise, nothing will change. Look at the opportunity Allah has given us. He even chained. الله جنزر الشياطين. برمضان ما في شياطين. إذا واحد عنده علاقة منيحة مع زوجه أو زوجته أو كذا, this is the time to actually fix the relationship, because الشياطين مو موجودين ليوسوسوا لك وهذا. يعني الشياطين كلهم مغللين ويعني محبوسين. So Allah, to make it easy for us to succeed, He locked them away. So share the speech of Allah with people comfortably. هدى للناس. Before Allah revealed the Quran, He locked down the 7 skies. 7 سماوات كلها سكرها الشياطين. قالوا what's going on؟ يعني ما عرفوا. لأن كانوا الشياطين بيطلعوا النجوم مثل ما بتعرفوا, بيطلعوا النجوم and they hang out and they listen and do. So all of a sudden they couldn't go anymore. They stayed on earth. They were confused. They said, what is going on? But then they had no idea what happened. Something big was happening. But then when they heard the Quran, they knew right away that it's a blessed revelation. قالوا oh my God, هذا مو حكي يعني الناس يعني. So there was something big. يعني مثل مرة احنا على روسيا كانوا 1000 شرطي هون وهون. واتس جوين اون؟ ما 13 احنا عم نعرف نفس الشيء. نفس الموقف هذا بروسيا لقينا بوتين 1000 واحد معه، 1000 واحد اذا ما كان 2000 يمكن جنود مسكرين كل الشوارع كذا. So you know something's going on but you have no idea. The same thing here. يعني بوتين بالنسبة لروسيا is big بس هون أعظم وأعظم. يعني القرآن الشياطين عم يقولوا what's going on، كله مسدود، الشوارع مسدودة، هون مسدود، ترافيك كذا كذا، let's go all the sky. Then they heard the revelation قالوا oh my God، معناته يعني هذا a big event. The blessed word of the Creator will reveal to us to the most beloved prophet with the most beloved angel Gabriel. يعني أحلى من هيك ما في. جانا كلها معنا مكتوب أحلى الصفحات، أحلى كتاب، مو بالخط الإيد الأعوج، مو بالخط ملون ومجود مثل ما بدكم بالإنجليزي وشرح وتفسير. And we still don't do it. من قبل ما كان عندنا هذا. Okay, we're gonna move to the next one. So there's no time like Ramadan to be loving, accepting, and including of others. يعني تحاول تحسن شوي عن الماضي. الآية الثانية وبينات من الهدى. What were some of the miracles؟ هلا في موسى عمل معجزات صح ولا لا؟ وعيسى عمل معجزات. موسى شو هن كانوا بس أكثر يتون حول العكازة لسنيك مثلا. He changed the staff to a snake and then back to his previous state, and he turned his hand white and he parted the water. These are really visual miracles. يعني شاف الواحد يشوف يقول محمد شافون العالم. يعني ما فيك، you cannot deny it. Visual, you cannot deny it. It's right in front of you. What were some of the miracles that Isa did? You know, he was speaking in the cradle, right? He cured the blind and he blew into some clay and he made it into a living bird. Now, I would like to imagine that you were with Musa at the time when لما موسى فرق البحر. تخيلوا ان انت كنت معه. Imagine that you were there with Musa as he was parting the water. Your eyes are wide open in disbelief, like, wow, you're walking between two walls. كله هيك عالي على مي. And imagine that the shock that you'd be feeling at that time. يعني شيء مو معقول. يعني the miracle is something that defies logic, defies the norm. يعني it's not normal. So you're walking between the two walls and you get to the other side and you are in shock, disbelief. You are speechless. You're like, oh my God, I have never seen anything like that. Now, fast forward a couple of years, say you get married and you have a child. After you've lived this experience, you got married, you have a child. Then 7 years later, you have a young boy who's now 7 years older, and you put him aside, you tell him, come son, I'm going to tell you this amazing story that I lived with the time Prophet Musa. You tell the 7 years, I was standing right between the water. When the water parted, be like, whoa, مو معقول. يعني he would be flipping out. He would wonder what. As I walked, you expect him, he would really be like, oh my God, he would love it. When he would love, he's 7 years old, he would love it. So if you go another 8 years, now he's 15 years old. 15-year-olds, they're in the world, like they know everything. Nothing impresses them. They know more than you. So you call your 15-year-old now, he's 15. So, come on, son, I want to tell you this amazing story. Son replace something like this, maybe. Is that the same water story you told me again? Is it going to tell me the same boring story you told me? You told me 10 times. Parting, blah, blah, blah. You're parting the water. You tell me, Dad, give me something new, man. You told me. He doesn't even believe it anymore. He kind of says, okay, it's boring. It's old news. Don't you have anything better to talk about? We look at it. He's about 15. So within one generation, something that was as miraculous as parting the water, it became just an old story. You know, something that changed your perception, changed your appreciation of Allah, changed the way you look at things, changed, خلاك تصدق بالفرقان، خلاك تصدق باليقين إن موسى عن جد رسول. Something that changed your life upside down, flip you upside down, does not even impress a 15-year-old later. We know why? Because that miracle was visual. It's an old story, visual. لأنك أنت هو ما عاشها، أنت عشتها. To you, it's real. To him, it's just okay. It's a cool thing. It's cool, but it's, you know, he cannot connect with it. So Allah صحيح أعطى لموسى معجزات، بس معجزات نظريه كانوا نظر. سيم ثينج عيسى اللي ما حضر العصفور عم يطير العصفور، قلت له عيسى okay he cured the blind, okay fine story. After a while they take it for face value because their mom told them, their priest told them, their hachab, whatever it is, the rabbi told them. They take it for face value, but they disconnect with it. It's not really. They say, okay, they hear, okay, we're going to believe it because it's in the thing. But they really don't believe it. Don't really believe it too much. Okay, يمكن واحد عم يكذب. There's no eyewitness. ما في eyewitness. كلهم ماتوا. ما في. يعني news is different when it's eyewitness. News is different than eyewitness account, you know. As the generations go by, it's the story, then becomes old story, then becomes the myth. It loses its luster. Subhanallah, visual miracle loses luster in time because people haven't lived the experience. But had you and I lived, if you had lived in, but لو كنت عايش وقتها يعني لما هيك تصير تقول لك oh my god you fall automatically into سجدة يعني every time you something miracle like this that unknown you feel every time, so every time you would fall into it. The same thing here with the Quran. The Quran, it's alive because not only there's visual beauty in the language, بس كمان العبر اللي فيه الحكم اللي فيه مو موجودين يعني it's alive. The more you know, the more it tells you. The more you reveal it, it reveals to you. The more the deeper you go. Your eyes, you only have two eyes. You cannot pass your eyes down to your next generation, you know. So it's a matter of time till it becomes, the story becomes boring and stale and people don't listen to it. They say, okay, fine, you know. Allah gave all the previous prophets the miracles of the eye, the miracles of sight, يعني visual miracles. So when you pass that to the next generation, you, like I said, you lose. But نحن القرآن غير. The new generation must experience a visual miracle with the hearing. بتسمعوا اياها القصة هو عم يسمعها سمع ما شافها. It doesn't connect يعني. You are actually using different mode. It's visual but using the mode of hearing. لأنه ما حضرها هو ما حتفوت مخه بتعلم الناس لأنه ما حضر. أنت حضرت عينك شفت أنت بعينك. هو ما شاف عم يسمعها بس سمع عنها. So it's less important for him. Okay. Just I don't wanna. So if you go back to Isa Musa, the miracles of the eyes, two things. They were given two things: a miracle of the eye and the experience of the ears. مو ما عاشوا هذا بس the experience يعني السمع بس سمعوا انه سمعوا عنه يعني عم تسمعها سمع بس ما حضرت يعني. With Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Quran came with a powerful message for the ears and for the mind, which gets stronger and stronger as your understanding gets deeper and deeper. كل ما تصير تفهم أكثر، كل ما بيصير عندك تدبر أكثر، كل ما بيصير عندك فهم أكثر، كل ما بيصير عندك تعطش أكثر، كل ما بيصير الميركل بتشوف ميركلز أكثر، بتصير هدى للناس ببينات من الهدى، بتصير بين واضحة. أو ماي جاد شو ما المرة الماضية ما عرفتها هي. كل ما تقرأ القرآن الآية بصير عندك فهم أكثر، بتصير تلاقي شغلات it pops up all over the place. Like, oh my God, not only it's visual but it's also hearing. You see it, basically you see the words like شو ما مجد بالك نفس التكست عم تقرأ يعني. It has different meaning, it has different depth. The next generation gets both the miracles passed down to them. لأنه العينك ما فيك تعطيها لأولادك ولا لأولاد أولادك ولا كذا يعني. Once you die, the miracle dies with you يعني. للأسف. So Quran is much more superior than visual miracles because it's visual and auditory, visual and hearing and understanding. عم تستعمل مخك، عم تستعمل more faculties to understand the Quran. You are actually making an effort. هذاك هلا إذا تشوف miracle, it doesn't require effort, it doesn't require intelligence, it just requires you being there. بس لا بدك ذكاء، لا بدك مثل ما تشوفها that's it. بينما القرآن is not free. القرآن لازم تجهد فيه، لازم تتعلم، لازم تتدبر. It takes an effort, it takes an investment of yourself. عشان هيك it's a living miracle because the more you commit to it, the more it gives you. And if you just want to do khatam, you're doing speed reading course, that's a different story. You're not benefiting and you're fooling yourself, I think, if you do that. And please, if you are just عم تشاطر كم ختم سويت, please give that up and ركز على التفهم أكثر من الختم يعني بصراحة. Okay, I'm going to move on. I hope this is clear, but please pay attention. This is very, very important. Do you have to be an expert to witness a miracle water parting? Or to see a bird fly? Come on, you don't have to. You just have to be present. Or a staff changing into a snake. You just have to be. Visual miracles just require presence, no intelligence, no nothing, no special skills. You do not need to have special skills or high intelligence to appreciate such miracles. You do not even need to be Muslim or be even believer. في ناس يعني شافوا ما صدقوا miracle سحر وكذا ما صدقوا. You don't even have to be a believer to actually witness such miracles. In other words, what I'm saying, appreciating the visual miracle is effortless. ما بدي جهد منك يعني. But Allah in His ultimate wisdom changed the equation for Muslim. أفلا يتدبرون القرآن ولو كان من عند غير الله لوجدوا فيه اختلافا شديدا. الله قال إنه ما عم يفكروا القرآن. يعني الله هلا حط علينا شروط، نحن حط علينا demand. You cannot just get away with it for free مثل visual miracle. You have to invest yourself in it. Don't they reflect and understand why they read the Quran? Allah يسأل. You will need personal effort to find miracles in the Quran. بدك تبحث عليهم يعني بده جهد. Until you think about the Quran deeply, it will not manifest itself to you. It will not reveal anything or manifest or show you anything unless you actually put deep effort, يعني serious effort. You cannot watch from a distance water parting or staff changing into snake without effort on your part. ما هي بطلت عافية يعني تغيرت. You are going to have to apply yourself بالقرآن. لازم أنت تجهد بالقرآن. We all have individual responsibilities to understand what we're reading in the Quran. The game rules have changed. It's not free anymore. It comes with a price, which is your personal effort, obviously. When you see a miracle, can you tell immediately what you saw? It's a miracle. Yeah, immediately you know it's a miracle. But when you hear something, until you think about it and analyze it and reflect it, you cannot tell if what you saw is a miracle or not. Or just, إذا سمعت شغلة سمعت صوت مثلا ما بتعرف هذا miracle ولا normal sound ولا كذا, but you have to say, is this normal? Does it sound like this? يعني you have to really think about it. مو بسرعة, النظر بسرعة بالقط يعني, بس السمع مو بسرعة. You have to exhort yourself يعني. For example, مثال بضحك عليها. Say that you are sitting in an airplane, on a plane, and the passenger 3 rows ahead of you, in front of you, أنت قاعد بالaisle seat, and there's one guy in front of you watching a movie in front of you. Let's say he's watching an action movie. If you see Rocky outboxing his Russian opponent, or you see Bruce Willis blowing up buildings, or you see Vin Diesel racing cars, or 2 lovers kissing passionately, you will, for the most part, understand the plot. يعني just تفهم شو الفيلم يعني, or you understand 50-75% of the just from the visual. You don't need words. يعني تطلع شو عم تشوف حركة وطاقة تعرف إنه الفيلم هذا, you get 50-75% of it. That's why people like it, because it's effortless. يحبوا العالم action movies because they don't have to think, they just watch. It's the easy mode يعني. But if that same passenger 3 rows down from you was watching a non-action drama movie, the actor was laughing hysterically. عم تطلع على واحد ما في شيء حركات بس عم يضحك بس. Can you appreciate that he is laughing? You only appreciate that because you saw him يعني, you saw him laughing, but you could not know why he's laughing. ما بتعرف شو عم يضحك. Unless you hear something ما بتعرف شو عم يضحكوا يعني. You need more faculty to really appreciate auditory over the visual. You need to hear, pay attention, analyze in order to understand why he's laughing. Otherwise, you are not going to have any idea what he's laughing about. Isn't that correct? The same thing with miracles. Visual is always easier than auditory. Or you can say that auditory requires much more effort, more concentration, more analysis, more seriousness than visual, with instantaneous, effortless results. Yani. So Quran is like that. Quran is not visual. You cannot, people that do monologue reading or just reading, just using auditory. عشان هيك ما بيفهموا شيء. You have to really تدبر requires taking in what Allah is telling. Allah عم يتحدث معك. You have to listen. على مهلك, ليش عم تسرع على مهلك? Take it in, analyze it. Then you understand it. Otherwise, you are just seeing pages. يعني في ناس بيقولوا لما اقرا قرآن بنام. That's the telltale sign that you're not understanding. إذا كلمة اجتك أول كلمة ما فهمتها شوية صباح طنش كلمة ثانية بلكي بفهمها. متى ما إذا عم تنعس معناته ما عم تفهم شو عم تقرا. That's the telltale sign. I took a course in reading for English reading, مو قرآن English عادي. لما تنعس بيمسكوا الكتاب بيناموا معناته ما عم يفهموا شيء. That's because you don't know, your vocabulary is weak. That's why. فما بالك بالقرآن يعني. Anyway, people that do ختم 3, 4, 5 مرات برمضان, they look dumbfounded, clueless when you ask them to explain to you what they learned, or the readers applied, or what they or did you apply some of it? They just don't reflect on it. I don't think that's very smart. In fact, I feel the opposite. I feel bad for these people because they're just wasting their time, wasting valuable time, thinking they're doing a good job, but they're really not doing anything. The Quran is not visual, it's mostly auditory. We said that to understand, you need to slow down, pay attention, reflect, and understand. I do not understand ليش العالم بيستعجل يعني. What's the rush? We're not in a race to no man's land. Allah wants us to understand what we read in the Quran. He doesn't want us, like crash course in speed reading. Quran is not crash course. You have to really slow down and understand. And you don't get more credit if you do more khatms that you don't understand, I think. If you slow down and pay attention to what you're reading, you are more likely to understand. You will not only get bayinat, miracles and wonders out of the Quran that will never cease, that will continue to give you more and more. So Quran is a tkhafif. You will see amazing things. You will understand amazing things. وحياة الله كل ما بقرأنا سورة الملك مثلا كل مرة I do, I'm like, oh my God, I see more and more يعني واحد سبحان الله. Then you pass the miracles. Then when you understand it, when you understand how to relate it to someone else, You pass it down to your kids, you pass it down to the next generation. And if that next generation continue their own digging, their own effort, they will discover even more than you. Their personal miracle will be bigger than your personal miracle because you just gave them a foundation and then they went deeper and deeper. Yani Quran, in time, is getting more deeper and real. That's why scientists are now finding things that we didn't find back then, because it's a living thing. It's a living thing that keeps giving and giving and giving. As science gets more deeper and more, then Quran becomes even more relevant, more important, because it proves what it proves. So back in the days ما كان عندنا هالشيء. هلا يعني عندنا العلم عم بيزيد، القرآن عم يصير أعظم، ما عم يصغر، عم يكبر. It's a living entity. It's not just words, it's Allah's words. So cursory reading هيك بسرعة is not applicable here. It's Allah's words. Allah deserves your attention, deserves for you to give him the chance to speak to you. ليش أنت بسرعة؟ أنت حكي أهم من حكي الله يعني. You're not giving Allah the time he deserves for you to understand what he's trying to tell you. You're jumping to the next ayah without understanding what he told you. This ayah, each ayah has depth of knowledge. Each ayah you spend months if you want. وحياة الله بالتفسير. يعني في ناس يعني بيفسروا الآية مثلا إذا بتروح تشوف صلاة الاستمرار أشهر والله العظيم، يعني أشهر آية واحدة يعني نحن كرسري يعني مساوي ما فهم سبحان الله. The Quran only gives you when you give it your 100%. It only opens up for you when you give it your best effort. The miracle of the Quran don't get less and less like the visual miracles, like Musa and Isa, the visual miracle. Actually, it gets more and more as science is proving today. People have discovered many miracles in the Quran, and the science has confirmed that there are miracles because it continues to give more. It's the clear Furqan. Al-Quran is the Furqan. يعني واضح من دون شك it's Furqan. يمكن عم شوفوا الكاميرا مرة كتير. This I have to fix this telephone thing. That's not good. I like you to do it from there, but still ماشي الحال. So you have guidance that touch your heart. The Quran بيعطي guidance that moves your heart, and you have miracles that convince you and the Quran is from Allah. Between the two of them, يعني between the guidance and the conviction that you have, you will be convinced that it's a clear Furqan between right and wrong. يعني مستحيل ما يكون كلام الله. يعني لما تكون عندك لما moves you nothing. أصلا بتقرأ كتاب ما بيحركك مشاعرك، ما ببكيك. يعني القرآن بتقرأ آية بتبكي ومعجبات، يعني مركز فيها عجائب. يعني between the two it's impossible not to be from Allah. يعني فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصمه. شوف هون شو ظريفة. Very interesting language هون. فمن is conditional. يعني مو كل الناس اللي بيعيش مثلنا نحن we're lucky we live. فمن is conditional. Whoever is lucky to see another Ramadan like ourselves, meaning to live another year, because some of people died last year COVID وقرايبنا وكذا. نحن فمن نحن من المحظوظين الذين يعني فمن يعني مش conditional مش شرطية يعني. So لما الله أنعم علينا وعيش سنة ثانية لا ترجعوا تعملوا اللي عملناه السنة اللي قبله واللي قبله واللي قبل ما استفدنا شيء. Allah gave you another chance to take another stab at it, to take another try, to try something different. Take advantage of that chance. Do something a little different than the years that passed, than 50 years. يعني. Make this Ramadan a little different than before. If you do the same thing, it's just going to be another Ramadan. You may not live to see the next one. الله أعطانا فرصة ثانية، راح نحضر رمضان ثاني. نعمة كبيرة جدا لا تضيعوها. يعني شهد witness. شهد معناته بالعيون. يعني شهد يشهد witness بعينه، شاف نظر عين. يعني when you witness a miracle you are humbled. لما تشوف شيء you are humbled. You fall in sajda to Allah's might, to Allah's greatness. When you witness the miracle of another Ramadan, هي رمضان ثاني هلا in which the Quran was revealed، صار عجوبة ثانية رمضان نصنا. احنا في ناس كثير ماتوا بسوريا ولا هون ولا كذا. يعني هي كمان miracle. And the fact that we lived another year I think is a miracle actually, because a lot of people have died. Ramadan that changed billions and billions of people and complete civilization. You witness another Ramadan. You get another chance at reading, understanding, and applying what you learned. Applying is more important than anything else. You have to understand and then apply what you learn. You should feel lucky, be humbled, and fall in sajda, thanking Allah that He made you live yet another year. He still gave you another chance to get it right. Wallahi, it's a great blessing that we still see. We can still read. We're not senile. We're not crazy. We're not decrepit. we before we start losing our sight and our hearing we should really apply ourselves now. هلا الواحد بيكون صغير بيكون عنده شوية منفخة وشوية كبرياء. But that's the fool's excuse. يعني we should now apply ourselves before we start losing these faculties that we have. لأننا مخترين لنا المجانين. الحمد لله now is the time to really make a change. ولا إذا واحد صار سينا ما عم تفهم ما عم تشوف ما عم تصل. What better miracle can we ask for actually than having in your hand the book, Allah's speech that was revealed to our beloved Prophet, and in the month of Ramadan, and changed the millions and millions and billions of people, and changed nations and countless civilizations and culture. How lucky are we to actually have the book that changed all these people? أحلى من هيك ما في ختم ملون ظريف بيدنا right here to read it. I mean, what more miracle can we ask for? I mean, seriously, how lucky are we to be alive and have the Quran in our hands that was revealed to the best of creation by the best of angels that Allah ever created. وبده ينزل بيوم ليلة القدر جبرائيل ما عاد نزل بعد محمد لأنه the last prophet. He will come down. He's the وحي هو الروح نزل بليلة القدر العام. ما نزل بعد ما مات محمد ما نزل ما بيصير بليلة القدر مرة واحدة. Don't miss that night. Don't miss that night. This last 10 days, make every effort to take as much off as you can. Start planning vacation now during that time. Wallahi al-Azim, Randy can tell you, we cried every night. Every night I cried. Wallahi, the 10 days of my life. I swear to God. I'm planning this year to make it better. Inshallah, with Jami' Shirkasi. So, Ramadan itself is a miracle that we get to witness it again and again, year after year. Allah يرحمنا وعمنيش. ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخرى. هلا شوف يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر. لا يحكي عنها. So before you could ask, before كانوا اليهود عندهم two options. إذا ما صاموا كانوا they make up this fasting أو بيطعموا حدا. Allah remove the other option. Now هون عم يحكي الله فمن كان مريضا أو فعدة من أيام أخرى. هي التأكيل طعمي واحد بدال هذا مش بيحكوا له مش بيحكوا له طعمي واحد بدال هذا لأنه بدال الصيام ما بيصير. بس بتكرر بتعيده. الأوبشن السكند أوبشن ما في عندنا إحنا المسلمين صعب علينا شوي يعني. فعدة من أيام اللي بيفطر ده ما في شيء الحين اللي الدواء تبعه تصوم different days. You cannot pay your way out like before يعني اليهود كانوا they just feed somebody else. Allah removed that option for us. We don't have that leisure يعني. So limited to the first option. Option 2 is taken away. ومن كان مريضا وعلى سفر فعدة من أيام أخرى طبعا. But let's compare our fasting to the fasting of the people of Moses. خلينا نقارن يعني كان في عندهم هن كان صيامهم أصعب من صيامنا لأنه كانوا مو بس بيصوموا على الأكل وكذا كانوا كمان يصوموا على الحديث ما كانوا يحكوا ما لازم يحكوا خلال صيامهم 3 أيام كانوا بزن صيامهم بس you can talk at least we can talk. So Allah said He wants to make it the burden easier. But He took option 2 for us, which seemed like He made it harder, right? I mean, He's, so we'll look at that a little bit. So He made it mandatory to fast. وبعدين ما نصوم 3 أيام نصوم 10 مرات قد اليهود 30 يوم يعني كمان مدد الأيام مو بس أمن الأوبشن الثاني إنه طعمي واحد كمان صرنا نصوم 30 يوم كمان looks like it made it harder. So it's 10 times harder for us. If we miss a day, we don't feed a person. No, we have to make it up يعني. The way to make it up, we have to find a way to make it up. So the institution of fasting, the Muslimin, instead of getting easier, it got harder. The institution of fasting. Now, I translated this wrongly on purpose, but listen to this. Pay attention, please. Allah Azza wa Jal continues, and He says, يريد بكم مو لكم بكم الباء غير اللام يريد بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر. Allah wants ease for you doesn't want difficulty for you. هيك الواحد فكر يعني لما ترجمها فكر الله بده يريد لكم فكر اليسرى ولا يريد لكم العسرى فكر انه لكم. But what that's not what this says. Become it says not لكم. Allah didn't make things harder for us, but He wants us. If I get lost here, I actually translated incorrectly on purpose مشان تعرفوا يعني شو الله بده. Allah did not say لكم يريد لكم اليسرى ويريد لكم العسرى. He said يريد بكم اليسرى وبكم العسرى. So He didn't really make it harder for us. He wants us حرف الباء غير كل المعنى هون بالجملة هي بالآية هي. Because of you, because Allah wants to ease for you, He wants to make it easy for the earth. ما just بكم نحن بخلالنا يعني من خلال المسلمين الله He wants to make it يسر لكل العالم. من خلال المسلمين الله ما بده يصعب على العالم يعني بكم نحن وسيلة لله مشان يهون على العالم. الله يسوي يعني دعوة، هي دعوة، هي الهداية يعني. You know, مو يريد لكم، يريد بكم. من خلالنا الله بده يعمل ease for everybody else, for humanity. من خلالنا الله بده يريح في الهيمان، بده يصعب على humanity. Allah wants to bring about ease for all humanity. That is a massive task and a massive responsibility for us as Muslims. You must go through. So بما انه المسؤوليه هي كبيره، نحن من خلالنا نحن they ينشر السلام من خلالنا، لازم مسؤوليه كبيره. So without 3 ايام that needs more training, that needs rigorous training. So we need not only understand but we need to internal. يعني 3 ايام ما بتلحق يعني تقرا القرآن 3 ايام ما راح تفهم شيء. So we have 30 days. So we can نتدبر and we internalize and we manifest the Quran. We have to manifest the Quran. We have to act. We have to apply. يعني مددنا المدة البوت كامب تبعنا بدل 3 ايام. It's a boot camp. It's a whole month. 30 days is boot camp. 30 days of internalizing, of understanding, of materializing and manifesting the Quran. يعني we have to do 3 ايام ما بكفي. We need. So Allah extended. So He didn't really make it harder for us. He made it easier. لأنه responsibility is harder. So he made the أعطانا وقت أكثر، أعطانا مجال 30 يوم يعني. Am I making sense? Am I confusing anybody؟ ما بعرف والله. I thought I was making sense before, but الصيام مأثر علي يمكن. لا ما كنت، أنا بس شربت شوية مي. So Allah wants to bring ease. Allah wants to bring ease to all humanity, not just Caucasians like the CBA wants to do. He wants to remove all difficulties from all humans, not just some people. He wants to remove difficulties for everybody. Allah wants to make ease for you. And Allah needs, so you need more training, and He needs, and that's the whole month, you know. So you need the whole month to be, so you can be powerful. And in 30 days, in 3 days, you're not gonna have enough time. The tougher the job, the tougher the training. You need full 30 days, no absences allowed. كمان إذا مشان هيك إذا يوم بيروح عليك, if you don't fast one day, you're gonna make it up. So you cannot just pay your way out of it. So هيك كمان يعني you're not allowed to pay إطعام واحد فقير يعني يمشي حالة. You cannot miss 30. If you miss one day, you're gonna make it up. So that's why I take off the other option. You won't get the complete certificates until you finish the 30 days of training. هي واللي تكملوا العدة. يعني العدة 30 يوم. إذا ما كملت 30 يوم ما بتخرج، ما بيعطيك certificate يعني. And when you finish all 30 days, you get a graduation ceremony. So شو graduation ceremony تبعنا؟ العيد. The Eid is our graduation ceremony at which time you glorify Allah based on how He guided you. ولتكبروا على الله ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون. ونقول الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. التخرج تبعنا يعني الله أكبر ولله الحمد. By the way, those words still rattle me. بحياة الله هلا يعني بيحركوني. And should rattle every Muslim who understands what they mean. لأنه you know which prophet said this? الله أكبر هذا ربي هذا أكبر. Sayyidina Ibrahim said that. Ibrahim, when he said that, and when the Muslims returned to Mecca and actualized Ibrahim's vision. إبراهيم كان عم يعمر كذا وحطم الأصنام إبراهيم بزمانه. لما رجعوا المسلمين على المدينة على مكة، فتحوا مكة، رجعوا كسروا أصنام تحقيقا لحلمه لإبراهيم، تحقيقا للفيجن تبع إبراهيم, his legacy. They actually manifested his legacy, and they said the same words that he used to say, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, as they were destroying the idols. So we are the fulfillment of Ibrahim's legacy before us, subhanallah. So the legacy of Ibrahim is culminated into our Eid. العيد تبعنا مو بس عيد مسلم، عيد لإبراهيم إنه حقق له الهدف اللي بده إياه حياته كلها يعني. So every Eid we make come true what Ibrahim has prayed for as he destroyed the idols himself before us. We live his legacy through these words: Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, lillahi alhamd. This is so beautiful. It moves me to tears sometimes when I listen to حدا عم يساويها بالعيد. There's a little bit more, but I'll be done in a couple of minutes. Takbir. شو معنى التكبير? Takbir is declaring the greatness of Allah. And during the fasting, Allah is saying now that you completed, after we've completed the 30 days, your stomach was asghar and Allah was akbar during those 30 days. Your throat was asghar, Allah was akbar. Your desires were asghar, Allah was akbar. And you did this for the entire month. Everything you wanted was lesser and lesser, and Allah was greater. Wasn't he? The whole month. كل متطلباتك يعني دنيوياتك كل حاجاتك انت you subjugated them to Allah. So you can magnify Allah. عم تكبر الله، عم تصغر من انت من عم تكسر نفسك، عم تكسر غرائزك، عم تكسر حاجياتك مشان تكبر الله يعني. That's the price you're going to pay for Ramadan. You have to have a headache. You have to be tired a little bit. You have to feel a little fatigue. Otherwise you're not sacrificing anything. بدك تحس بالوجع، بدك تحس بالألم، بدك تحس بالتعب يعني. I think that's the beauty of Ramadan. Otherwise it's just not there's not يعني it's not Ramadan. What you sacrifice, you're not sacrificing otherwise. Now that you finish the training of 30 days, you are ready to declare Allah's greatness, everything else in your life. بعد ما صار عندك تدربت 30 يوم يعني باستطاعتك تكسر مثلا addiction على الكوفي, addiction على الsugar, addiction على whatever other things people do. They overeat. You can actually, now that you trust, if you do it the right way, you can actually break any habits that's running your life. You don't want your habit. You want to be master of your nafs. You don't want your nafs to run you around. You want to show your nafs. These 30 days is training, a boot camp for you to actually master your nafs, not the other way around. So people who don't do that, they're just thinking, oh, I'm going to eat kibbeh wala mansaf wala chips pasta. I'm thinking their nafs is running the show. You don't want your nafs to run. You want to run the show. You want to show your nafs who's boss in Ramadan. So you don't want to be thinking about worldly things. You want to be thinking about spiritual things. That's why I'm going to from this, flip it. You want to actually focus up. You don't want to focus down on your earthly desires and needs and dependencies. You want to break away from that. Otherwise, you're not really living Ramadan the way you should be living it, according to this. So I'm going to repeat this one more time because this is important. What takbir means, declaring the greatness of Allah. Allah is saying at the end of ayah 185 of Surah Al-Baqarah, وَلِتَكْمِلُوا الْعِدَّةَ وَلِتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ وَلَعَلَكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. Now that you completed your 30 days, count of 30 days, your stomach was asghar, Allah was akbar. Your throat was asghar, Allah was akbar. Your desires were asghar, Allah was akbar. You were asghar, Allah was akbar, because you put Allah first and you put your needs second. That's what you should do in Ramadan. Not if you're thinking about food, you're putting your needs before Allah. If you're doing khatam sariyah, you're putting your needs before Allah. You want to do the opposite. That's what I'm trying to say here. Hopefully you got the message. So you consciously made yourself smaller. Let me see what else. You are commanding your nafs. Your nafs is not running the show anymore. That's what you want to do in Ramadan. Allah is saying that when Eid comes around and we finish our training for 30 days, you are ready to declare Allah's greatness. Allahu Akbar. لما تخلص عيد تقول أنت, you are ready to declare Allah's greatness in everything, every area of your life, everything that you do. You want to put Allah first, just like you did in Ramadan. He directs us, He guides us to live with this declaration, this testimony, this premise, Allahu Akbar, acknowledging the glory of Allah and declaring His greatness over everything, reminding us to put Allah first and above our own needs. That's the message of Ramadan, is the takbir. This is profound. If you put the last statement, use the best بتكبر هل هذا تحط Allah's needs before your needs. And if you remember the glass example, I think that probably summarizes my talk for tonight. The final advice I have for you, if you like to do this month, is to do سورة البقرة مثل ما حكيت تدبر. أنا بدي أسوي بس سورة البقرة، ما بدي أختبقها، بدي أحاول أفهمها وأقرأ التفسيرات الموجودين وأشتري كتاب تفسير خصوصي. I'll tell you the title in 1 second. ثيماتك يمكن مديح عندك الغزالي. ثيماتك هلا كثير كتاب ظريف سمعت عنه كثير يعني عمران حمزة يتحافظ معه. هذا ثيماتك commentary on the Quran مديح الغزالي. It's supposedly it's like the best. ما بعرف إذا مبين. Anyway, thematic. اسمه thematic commentary on the Quran by Sheikh Muhammad al-Ghazali. It's
بالعربي إلا ما يكون مكتوب عليه اسم بالعربي.
لا بالإنجليزي أنا اشتريته ولا ما عندي بالعربي. في بالعربي موجود يمكن ما بعرف بس أنا بالإنجليزي مشتري كتاب، ما أحيانا لي أقرأ بالإنجليزي من أقرأ بالعربي. So I invite you all to do the same, to start reading. أنا نلاقي شيء آية مو ضروري إذا بقرة طويلة مو آية سورة، إذا بقرة طويلة نلاقي سورتين اللي بتحب الرحمن مثلا والملك نقي. And really dive deep, go for deep dive. Don't go for ختم. Go for deep dive where you actually عم تفهم شو عم تقرأ. Everything will change for you. والله العظيم. It's such a joy to understand. أنا بحب التفسير كثير because you just understand at a different level. You appreciate Allah at a different level when you understand what you're reading. This starts I don't have the clock. So that was صلي ساعة وشوي صلي ساعة ونص.
ساعة و20 دقيقة.
Okay. So anyway, I think that should be enough. So by doing that, we have to be in state of gratitude, the training, the application, and manifesting Quran, being walking billboard for Quran. And then we'll do what we actually set out to do in the beginning, actionable Quran. وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين. جزاكم الله خيرا وبارك الله لكم ولي. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم. إن أخطأت فهو مني وإن أصبت فهو من الله وأرجو من الله أن يغفر لي ولكم. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله. ما بعرف إذا طولت عليكم، سوري.